Hey, how's everyone doing today? Hope everybody's having a good summer. Thought I'd do a quick video update, discuss dollar cost averaging right now. I think that's a good time with where we're at in our local and global economies. Locally, I'm sure most of you know inflation's at 40-year highs. More internationally, I don't know if you've heard, but the euro and the dollar are almost at a 1-to-1 ratio because the European economies are starting to slide. Chinese housing markets are up in the air. Um, the Chinese government had to get together with their bigger banks and discuss what they're going to do with people who are refusing to pay mortgages and try to avoid a real estate collapse over there. Um, I mean, with the current condition of the world, I think one of two things is going to happen. Option number one, everything needs to kind of get shaken out and get back to its average, the market average, the average economy. I think a lot of stuff has been overinflated post pandemic because of money being printed or the supply chain issues, whatever it is. I think things just need to shake out, get back to an average, back to a mean, and go from there. Option number two, I suppose, is none of this shakes out and everything goes to crap. And at that point, you won't care about your investments because you're going to be like just trying to survive. So let's hope for option number one. And if option number one comes to fruition, I think dollar cost averaging is a decent strategy to begin implementing right now. This article is off of Investopedia. I think Investopedia does a really good job of explaining strategies and definitions in layman's terms so everybody can understand it a little bit better. Basically, DCA or dollar cost averaging is an investment strategy in which an investor divides up the total amount to be invested across periodic purchases of a target asset in an effort to reduce the impact of volatility on the overall purchase. And I know I just said they do a really good job breaking it down for layman's terms, and that might be confusing, but basically you're taking money and you're investing it spread out across an average of time. You're not doing a one time buy, you're spreading everything out. Under the key takeaways, like I said, you're taking equal amounts spaced out over regular intervals regardless of price. The goal overall is to reduce volatility of a target asset. And if you know much about crypto, it is probably one of the most volatile of assets that's around right now. So to reduce any type of volatility is a good thing, in my opinion. And as I said, it will help you avoid making a mistake of a one time lump sum investment if you timed the market very poorly and everything continued to go down. Instead of having a one lump sum buy, you can spread it out. Really good example of this is how 401k plans are utilized. A lot of companies take out X amount per paycheck, put it into your 401k. That's a really good example of DCA. You can do it with your own paycheck. Hopefully, you have a solid budget planned out and you know roughly how much money you should have left over at the end of the month or however long your budget's planned for. And then you can take that sum of money and invest it just kind of on an average basis. One special consideration, I'll link this article in this video so you can read through the whole article if you're interested. But with dollar cost average, the general idea of the strategy assumes that the price will eventually always rise. And that's, like I said, scenario one of my two scenario outcome. Everything shakes out, we reach a bottom, and things eventually continue to rise. Option number two, obviously, none of this matters because most of us will probably be dead at that point. Anyways, this article goes on to provide a really good example right here. If you are kind of just using your paycheck, which I'm sure most people watching this video have a job still. You're not retired. You still work your 9 to 5 or whatever. And with your budget, you can get it planned out to where you have X amount of money to invest. And it doesn't matter, in my opinion, if it's $5 or $500 a week. Investing something is going to be better than investing nothing. So this section right here talks about a guy who takes $100 out of his check, split it up between $50 into the S&P, I believe, and $40 into his 401 or $50 into his 401k. This chart right here shows, his average price on the S&P 500 with his $50 contribution. Shows how much he's going to get each time. I think his paycheck was every 2 weeks. $50 every 2 weeks is going to get you X amount of shares, your total value, and then they break it all down for you at the end. Shows you how much you've made, profit, loss, your average cost per each share, so on and so forth. Continues to discuss if it's better than buying the dip. Buying the dip is a very interesting phrase because I think there's a lot of people who just assume that means like, oh, anytime you look at the market and it's in the red, you just buy some, right? Like you don't pay attention to nothing, you just buy when it's red, and that's gonna get you wrecked in the long term. Like you have to pay attention to more than just opening up your app, looking at the price, shrugging your shoulders, and putting everything down. So buying the dip is great because you're trying to buy low, sell high, but dollar cost average offers you more of a schedule and takes a little bit of the human psychology out of it, which we talk about a little bit later in this article. Right here, actually. Key advantage to dollar cost averaging is that it reduces the effect of investor psychology and market timing on their portfolio. Nobody can time the market. If you could time the market, you'd be a trillionaire because you would just do nothing but make money all day. And if you can eliminate the human psychology from the market, like that's huge as well. Humans are, in my opinion, a lot of times based off of impulse, and that impulse level just varies. Some people are very impulsive, and some people are not impulsive at all, which I mean like a 0.1%, because everybody has impulses. So if you can eliminate that psychology and that impulse, it just makes your life a lot easier. Here's another example of the dollar cost averaging, and they just throw out numbers. If you're putting $500 a month into an index fund like the S&P, some months it'll be up, meaning you're going to get less shares. Some months it's down, you'll get longer shares. However, in the long run, investors using DCA are just betting on the simplicity of the strategy, that eventually things will continue to rise up. For example, let's take Bitcoin. If you look at Bitcoin's price at 20,000 and you think eventually it's going to reach all-time high, then, why wouldn't you just begin to slowly buy right now? And like I said, that just applies across all markets to all assets. The S&P, if you think the S&P is going to go back up, why not buy some right now? There are different websites that you can use to track like a portfolio. You can make your own little mock portfolio to kind of see it go. I'm on CoinMarketCap right here. I've already logged in. Top of the screen, I can click on portfolio, and it will bring up my portfolio, which, as you can see, I have not used CoinMarketCap's portfolio tracker because I actually invest into crypto and I keep track of it on whatever DEX I have my money on, or if I have it out in my ledger. Hopefully people aren't keeping money on centralized exchanges. I had a buddy of mine who was into a Voyager. Voyager was a centralized exchange that he was using. I got a hold of him here about a month ago, asked him to make sure his money wasn't on Voyager still, and then I believe last week Voyager filed bankruptcy. So you want to definitely pay really good attention to where your money is stored. You can't just assume that, oh, it's on an exchange and this exchange is really big. They'll never go, bankrupt. They'll never lock me out. Like, if you pay attention to crypto, I mean, I couldn't even begin to tell you the number of projects that have failed in the last month. So like I said, I keep my stuff secured. I do not have it on centralized exchanges unless I'm not worried about losing that said amount of money. So you can use something like CoinMarketCap. Select whatever your crypto is. I mean, they've got, 20,249. Pretty sure whatever crypto you're in should be on this list. We'll just use the old Bitcoin for the example. you can come in here and you can say how much you're going to buy at this price. It locks it all in for you. Let's just say we're going to buy, oops, definitely wanted to add 2 more zeros there. Let's just say you were going to throw in, we'll just say $50. $50 a week, throw it in. It'll calculate your chart for you, which I'm not sure why this part's taking so long because there's technically only one buy. So there we go. Now you could come back to a platform like CoinMarketCap. You could come in every Sunday at 7:00 p.m. and say you're going to put in $50, and it'll track it for you. And then that'll kind of just help show you what DCA can do for you if you're still skeptical about it. You're not quite ready to throw your actual hard-earned money in. And you can do this with, you don't just have to pick one coin. You just click add another. Let's say you wanted to do Polkadot. Let's just say you were going to do, what would that be? 7, let's say you wanted to do another 50 in if you were doing $100 a week. I think you can all grasp the concept that I'm throwing at you right now if you're not sure about jumping into investing, because it's a big step. Like I said, it's your hard-earned money. I don't care if you're, a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company or working, at a retail, you're working fast food having to deal with the public. That's gross. Whatever your job is, it's your hard-earned money, and you want to be careful with how you spend it. Like I said, I think even if it's a $5 buy, it might seem like, oh, it's only $5, but just be patient, which is hilarious for me to say because I'm the most impatient person I probably know. So for me to try and tell somebody to be patient with investing, like, trust me, it works. You got to have patience. You got to just see it through. You know what I mean? Lots of research is important. Don't just, willy-nilly jump into something. Understand the project. Understand the company. Huge. My buddy I was working with was talking with him and my Snap-on dealer, and he said that Kevin O'Leary, who is a guy from Shark Tank, he asked if I had heard what he said about crypto, how he explained it, and I had not. And this was like the best explanation I've ever heard for crypto. Don't think of it as a currency. Don't think of it as, some type of money to pay for something. Think of it as a software. And, I don't know how I'd never heard that before. This was 2 weeks ago that this guy said this. And I'm just, blown away. That makes so much sense. With cryptocurrency, don't think of it as a currency, which I know that's in the name cryptocurrency, which makes it really confusing. But think of it as a software. Read the white paper of the company you're about to invest in. Understand who's leading it, who's the team, the president. Don't just jump into something because some other guy on Twitter said, oh, I'm going to buy this coin, and you throw your life savings into it, and then they rug pull, and then you're broke and mad because you invested in something you didn't know anything about. That's your fault. Don't just look for that easy money, quick 100x overnight, I'm going to be a millionaire. It takes time. It takes patience. That was my whole point of that last 3-minute ramble. Have patience. I'm going to wrap this video up now. Be patient with stuff. Check out dollar cost averaging. If you're not really sure about when you should jump in, don't try and time the bottom, just like you don't try and time the top. You average yourself in, you average yourself out. Best way to make money, in my opinion, is to just be patient and look for the really solid projects and hope for the best. Scenario number 1, everything's going to shake out, everything's going to hit an average bottom, and then eventually we'll begin to pull the pieces together and we'll work our way back up. Otherwise, option number 2 is, I don't know, the apocalypse is already here and we're already goosed, so it doesn't matter anyways. So whatever you end up doing, I hope the best for all of you guys. Hope everybody's staying cool out there. It's been way too hot lately. I'm going to stop this video now and turn on my air conditioner. So everybody have a good day.